Gays, let them be gay in the United States, in Europe, and elsewhere. If dogs and pigs know their mates,
in African tradition, there are things you just cannot do.
It was a front page article in the national newspaper in Malawi, where it read that to get people engaged. Right? I just read that as any other ordinary Malawian. But as a human rights activist, I knew that these two individuals were in trouble.
As the police, we enforce the law, the existing law. The homosexuality is forbidden, so we enforce that law. After we arrested them, we questioned them, as we do procedurally. Tell us what happened. Do you admit? Yes, they admitted. Yeah, no, they were not even forced to give us a statement. The medical report proved that they were mentally okay, both of them. To prove whether the two were indeed males. Yeah, that was why they were physically examined.
At the start of the process, there were quite literally hundreds of people. I think really just came to look at them because homosexuality is, where it does exist, and it does exist in Malawian society, is behind closed doors generally.
Akujambula ni nditu. Anajambula. Adaling tabwerani. Amene wandia kuti adaling. Tafika ni pafupi adaling amene wawa. Chifua mena kalira pafupi kuti ndi adaling. Adaling ndinuyo ere.
Langula ndineyo.
Ndinuyo? Muda afunsira amenewo?
Amenewo ndida afunsira.
Muda atijani kwa afunsira ali mamuna mzanu ndevu zili pepeya. Yankani chifukwa tu ndi amenewo wa Malawi.
Maswera, Janjari. I've never seen such kind of a thing happening before, but I've been hearing about it. I know that some countries like South Africa and other countries where homosexuality are accepted. So when I heard about that, I thought, well, it could be the start of such kind of partnerships in Malawi. They made an arrangement at our workplace that I should visit the homes of the two guys, and I really went. The first place to go was Steve Monjeza's house, where I had a chat with the uncles and some aunts.
Banja la Monjeza ntchito yawo ndiyokoma zidebe zomwera za nkhuku. Nthawi ija ya marefugees analipo anthu aku Mozambique aja. Nthawi imeneja ndi malonda amayenda kwambiri ife kumabwera malole amagalimoto mazapitenga zimene zija makapasa gulu limene lijalo. Zinthu zinasokonekera ife chakumwalira kwa ndani kwa bambo.
Anatha kumatenga zinthu za nyumba kumagulisa kupita kumunda nthawi chimanga chinakhwimisisa ukachosa chimanga kukagulisa kusinthanisa ndi mowa kwakhala kuti sausa kwa nthawi yayitali ngakhale nkhuku zonse anatha kugulisa.
From there, the following day we went to Cholo to chat with the relatives of Tiwonge Chimbalanga.
Nthawi imeneyo mayi wakanamwalira kumene naona kuti amamusikisa machita chani ndiye nakamtengapo kuti kapena naye azapeze tsiko lake kusiku ndizaine makhalidwe ake anali abwino tsiku lamakangana ndi anzake ndiponso ndi wokonda akaona azimayi alipo akukhalapo kumachezanawo ngakhale kubwera pano azingotsekesa anthu basi ngati nthabwala ndimaziwa nthabwala
Izo maina mengi ataona kuno ai ilikuwa jamvira pa jamvira pompo pa wireless kuti ati Tiwonge Chimbalanga sitone kisiwa kunja iya.
She came sometime around August. Yeah, she was looking for employment. She told me that she's a good cook. Yeah, she was dedicated, she was hardworking. Because at times you would not even ask her what to do. She would be all over, doing everything on her own. And then after 2 months, then the church elder came to us to say that Tiwonge has written a letter to them that she wants now to get engaged.
Tinatamva kuna kuti ndi mkazi ndimana kumana ndi Stephen Monjeza ndi anadzatiuza onena kuti afuna apange chinkhoswe. We said okay, ife ndifukula nditani kuti mukapange chinkhoswe cha.
Sinatenga mezi 6 just tupanga plani 6 fata comes mezi 7 limodzi kena nimaka timanga moja sono. Yes, timapanga plani imene chayo zo sinapanga ndekha. China chicho sinapanga ndekha, kuchimuna kuchikazi zo sinapanga ndekha. Ana amene anagwirizira napanga ndekha zovazo sinapanga ndekha. Akuchimuna panebe chomwe mwana apanga kumazo sinapanga ndekha.
Nde atabwera ndinanena kuti Stephen kodi zikukhala bwanji ukuku. Ndeyo jakumafotokoza nde ndinamfunsa sofunso. Stephen kodi amene uja ni munthu wamkazi kapena ndi mamuna. Nde ananena kuti mwafunsiranji funso limenelo. Nene kuti aine ndikundabwa akuoneka kuti ali ndi ndevu kumaso chani. Nde ananena kuti funso limene ndilovuta kutani kukuyankhani. Nkumaseka ikhabasi nkunyamuka kumatani kumapita.
Uje ni nkhani ya chinkhoswe monga ineyo nnamfunsa hapo asanakhale ni nkazi kuti uyo si nkazi ifuwa nkazi amaoneka ndithu dazi ndeni mamuuza kuti iwe si nkazi ndiponso ngakhale amasambisa nawo maliro achizimayi nkazi amene uja ndiwo chimwe.
She actually told me that she wanted a house because she had a fiancé who she was staying with. So I gave her a house. So she was staying behind my lodge. She would do everything that a woman could do to her husband. She was loving. She would make the water for Steve to bath. She would cook for the husband. At times they would go together out to buy food. They would go to church together. And they lived like a man and a woman. So I had no problem with that since I thought she was a woman and every woman would want to be married, isn't it? So I said, if she wants to, then you can have it too.
Mawa amene kuyankhula fwa chani fwa ndikuyankhula ndikumanazo kukhoma zambiri pa moyo wanga wa siku ndi siku. Ndi ine kwambiri makono pemphera ndi ineyo manifesta kuchita nganyika chotani panopa ndeni kusangalala kwambiri kuti panopa ndiyakhala mbanja bwino sona.
Steve and Tio went into public to have an engagement ceremony that drew people. People went not to give them gifts like we do during our normal cultural engagements, but they went to see this strange thing that's befallen Malawi.
Ine nkhani imene ndikoyamba kuimva sinambe ndamva maganizo athu timangodandira kuti anationongera mbiri yathu pamene makolo athu sanambe azipanga zili zimenezo.
Apart from the law itself, I cannot support gay practice or homosexuality. It's an alien sort of practice in our country.
And then I said, if you don't want to tell me who you are, if the police are here, I'm going to tell them exactly to pick you up. They'll take you to court or they'll arrest you today. Then he just said, Mommy, let's just go somewhere so that I can show you. Whatever you see there, don't tell anybody. It must just be between you and me. So we're like 3 ladies and her and him. 4 of us went in the room. when he undressed himself, I asked him, when you say that you're a woman, can you show me what a woman you are? Because I can see you've male parts. So show me where Steve does it and how does it happen? Because I know as a woman where the man goes, but I don't see anything here. So he showed me whatever, how they were doing it, but I was so surprised because in a normal thinking, nobody can do that. And I've never heard that until when he told me. She wanted to prove those that were saying he's a male, that she's a woman. Because when you look at him, he looks a man, but he wanted to be a woman.
I think there were some people behind them. They just wanted to test the law.
That's what they are. That's what they believe in, whether there is a law or what. I mean, the law cannot change what they are. Even if they're in prison for 100 years, whatever, but it can't change their sexuality.
Every person would love to get married. Every person, whether he's gay or he's not gay, but at some point you need to get married, to have someone. It's nature. Yeah, she didn't do anything wrong. Yeah, it's just very unfortunate with our Malawi culture that they could not accept it as it is. You know, some of us, we know our law, but there are some who don't know what the law says.
So I think there might be people, but not many. But we cannot know how many, because they do it in hiding.
There is an underground gay group here, which at the moment operates in the shadows because it has to. And I think that over the course of probably years, not days and moments, that gradually it's been accepted that at some point someone was going to have to step up, whether it was through marriage or just through being openly gay. Someone was going to have to do it.
It's not by any means unique anywhere in the world that you have either people who are pushing to expand the envelope, to expand our understanding of rights and of fairness and of justice, and others who are pushing back saying, no. Justice means everyone except you. If you have someone who's not familiar with the issue and someone who's being told by their pastor or by their imam of how abhorrent such a thing is to our beliefs, well, people, if they don't know better, will necessarily then adopt that without thinking about other issues, again, the broader, more nebulous issues of human rights or of equality or of justice, and what does this really mean? It's like, well, no, that's just wrong.
To his man, to his people, to his beloved, God gives them wisdom, knowledge, and joy. As far as God is concerned, it's a sin. You know, we call it the acts of sodomy. It is made with reference to Sodom and Gomorrah. Sodom was a place which was full of evil, and even men were sleeping with fellow men. And God came and rained fire upon Sodom because of the sin of sodomy. I believe it's unacceptable, it's abominable before God. And we shall see evils. Haiti and Dominican Republic are countries next to each other. Why is it that the big earthquake that came hit Haiti and left the Dominican Republic? Haiti swore to idol worship. Dominican Republic is predominantly Christian. Blessed is a nation whose God is Jehovah. That's what the Bible says. The church has a bearing in terms of moral issues that affect the nation. Different about doing business in the nation.
Komanso tsopano so tikuphunzitsidwa miyambo ina imene sitikuyidziwa akuti mwamuna azikwatira mwamuna nzake. Zonsezi tikufuna inu achipembedzo mutithandize, muzitipempherera kuti Malawi ibwerere monga mmene tinalili kale, kuopa Mulungu koma kulemekezanso miyambo ya makolo athu.
I am fearing for them very much because of what the president had just said a few days ago, where he said homosexuality is evil.
Politicians would want to use the gay issue as a political agenda. They would want to divert, people's attention from real issues, from real governance issues, because they know that the electorate, most of the majority are against the gay issues. So when they try to bash the gay community, then they woo, or they gain a lot of support.
Magire aja. Anyamara amene aja atsutsana komanso kunyoza miyambo yathu, atsutsana komanso kunyoza zipembedzo zathu, atsutsana komanso kunyoza malamulo athu.
The law of the land, not the church, is arresting a homosexual. Until that law is changed, homosexuals will go into prison.
We as Malawi Law Society are greatly concerned with the fact that bail was denied. We do not subscribe to the view of protective custody. These are two people who are not harmful to the society, that society would gang up and just ambush them. The denial of bail raises a lot of issues that probably this trial may be just a smoke screen. They're already convicted. Otherwise, how for those reasons, how do you look forward to a fair trial if you're already saying we can't release you? You're saying you've been convicted by the public.
If you were to see the cells they sleep in, they're that congested that there isn't sometimes, depending on numbers, enough room for them to all lie down at night. So you can imagine that it's just a cramped room of 150 people. So Tiwonge's in a cell for at least 12 hours a day with 2 fairly poor meals, and this is a guy who still looks immaculately dressed. Not a trace of bitterness, not a trace of anger. Quite inspirational character, actually. In the UK, we would call Tiwonge gay and proud. He holds himself with utter dignity. I wonder how much of that's a mask at the moment, because Chichiri prison is an awful place to be. But he's comfortable with himself, he's comfortable with his sexuality. He's able to maintain a sunny disposition because he's able to reconcile himself with the fact that he's doing the right thing. Stephen, I think, has been more surprised by what's happened. I do wonder if Stephen knew what was going to happen.
So I went to prison as a pastor. I was with me, my personal assistant. We want just to talk to them, hear how they are doing, encourage them, speak to them the word of God. When we called Tiwonge, he was not willing to talk, and told him, I say, I've not come to condemn you, neither am I taking any story for you. I've just come to encourage you. The world may condemn you, but God in heaven is not condemning you. Whatever you may be going through, God loves you. And towards the end, Tiwonge said, yeah, I want change in my life.
Malawi is not a Christian nation, neither is it a Muslim nation by its constitution. So an attempt by religions or religious leaders to impose their religious views, it is, in my view, a serious affront to the constitution. Under the Constitution, the courts are mandated to declare a law invalid if it is inconsistent with the provisions of the Constitution. The question has been, are these laws invalid? Do they still have the legal force as against the new Constitution? The Chief Justice's function of certifying a case to go to the Constitutional Court or not is simply an administrative action. The courts must be independent and impartial, and it was the responsibility of the courts in this whole matter to play their rightful role. And by that, I mean that these people should have been granted bail and that these people should have had their day in the Constitutional Court.
Stephen and Tiwonge are being punished under old colonial homophobic laws.
the silence, we need to be the voice for people that cannot speak out in countries where they are being condemned for that. That's as simple as that, and that's why we're here today. And hopefully this little bit here can make a difference in their lives. Thank you.
Were development budgets to dry up, were the donors to go away, Malawi would not be totally out in the cold, but roughly half of what is now being provided would disappear. The donors, I think, made it fairly clear to the government of Malawi that were they to not ensure the constitutional protection of all of their citizens, irregardless of their gender, sexual identity, or anything else, that could raise very serious questions for those donors, because those are principles, be it the United Nations or most donors in the world, those are principles that the donors adhere to.
The donor community says we want to impose economic sanction on Malawi so that Tiwonge and Steve should be released, right? Their rights have been infringed on. What about the economic rights that are still being infringed on the many in the village who cannot even afford food? So in trying to protect 2 people, you kill 13 million people. I think it's a sociological myopia. It's a short-sightedness of the world out there.
If the aid gets withdrawn, the reality of the situation is that people die. Kids don't get their food, farmers don't get their fertilizers, there aren't ARV drugs, there aren't malaria treatment kits, there aren't malaria nets. Malawi is a very poor country and is, for most of its public services, heavily, heavily reliant, and in some sectors totally reliant on outside aid.
I do not think it's a matter that should be dealt with through donor pressure. I think it's a matter that this nation by itself can competently deal with.
You're listening to news and reports from MBC Radio 1. The Blantyre Magistrates Court has convicted 2 men, Tiwonge Chimbalanga and Stephen Monjeza, on charges of gross indecency 5 months after they held a traditional engagement. Making the ruling, Principal Resident Magistrate Nyakwawo Swausiwa said he was convinced with the state's submissions in the case, which he said proved beyond reasonable doubt that the 2 were guilty. Meanwhile, the case has been adjourned to this coming Thursday.
And that conviction is quite correct because it is after careful observation of what our own society as a country and our own values as a country.
Yeah, if it also grows out, still of a minute, what is singers going?
If it could be life sentence, I couldn't care. Yeah, they should go. They are not welcome in our society.
the people are not happy with the system. If anything, we could have used the Sharia law to kill them so that they all perish.
We are Christians in this country. We cannot tolerate the bad behavior these people are doing. We as the Malawians, we are very, very angry with this situation.
The view of the majority of the people on the streets is that this should remain an offense. Simple reason is, I think, the approach has not been a legal one, but rather a religious one.
And that's not the end of the battle. There's more to come.
I was not expecting, I think, this harsh sentence. I think it's the first of its kind. It will be in the books of history.
The course they will have to take now will be an appeal. Ultimately, our constitution will prevail. We are not talking of amending the constitution. It's just a matter of time.
Once they appeal to the High Court, we've then got manoeuvrability to start introducing arguments about the fact that homosexuality shouldn't be criminalised by international standards and really just by standards of decent dignity.
If I were the magistrate, I would have given them a suspended sentence and tell them not to engage in homosexuality again. That's what I would have done for the sake of the continued support that we are receiving from the donor community.
It is unfortunate that laws that criminalize people on the basis of their sexual orientation still exist in some countries. Penal codes criminalizing homosexuality should be reformed.
I recall what Michelle told us. The president basically said that it was a very complex and a very, very sensitive issue, and that he was looking at trying to find a way to do the right thing, to make the best possible decision.
These two gay boys were wrong, totally wrong. I want this for you to understand. However, now that they've been sentenced, I, as the president of this country, have the powers to pronounce on them. And therefore, I have decided that with effect from today, they are pardoned and they will be released.
This was rather close after His Excellency took on board the chairmanship of the African Union, right? And during 2010, he was expected to travel quite a lot also internationally. First question from some journalists is about the gay issue. That will be very burdensome. My guess will be that it was a combination between, on the one side, to reduce bad images of Malawi, and secondly, it was a gesture to the UN Secretary General also coming to the country.
I highly commend your leadership, your courageous political decision to pardon gay boys. Thank you very much.
The president clearly gave an indication that he was doing it because of the external international pressure that Malawi was receiving, but it was a very practical, pointed decision.
Panopo ndinawuza kuti amasulire ndiyesa kuti amasulidwa. Ndiye nkhani ithere pamenepo. Sinosane nkhani mukungoisiya. I don't want anybody to comment on this because I will not authorize anybody to comment on this because musokoneza zinthu. Chifukwa ine ndikuyang'ana atu madonors kuti sopano anena chani. Yes, ndikuachera nsampadala kuti kodi anena chani sopano choti achite Malawi. Ndichani ndiyeza kuti tapanga uje. Mumamona uja amati antitiwo. Amadi akakapa TV. Simazore. Ndibona ngasana ntuma yamesa kuti ndiye basi tuye ndiye wajaira number 1. Zauji zero. Zau satana zopana chito.
It's an incredibly intelligent decision because it means status quo ante. You go back to where things were before, which means the sodomy law continues to exist. As and if and when we decide to enforce it, we will enforce it.
Kwa bolingalira ndimene zilizapa mapenda pamene ujapo ndithu hata mwina kuganizira bwino bwino kuti moyo wanga uyenera kusinthika pang'ono kumano kumbali anthu enawa ndingwauzo zokuti amene angapange zinthu zopusa pasiku la Malawi panopa lero ndi akagwira m'madzi kulinga ndipo mali
20 Manga wose makubanji ndio muona ule tsogolo lako ndio ndani kwa Stephen tsogolo watu basanga banji mwabokoma naye ndiye ndinasikhulupira zoti ndifuna banja titakakhala kwa Host TV anthu anatongeza zokuti mtukupasani chani tukupasani ndalama pakhalidwe imene waondesa Steve kuti kwakonesa khalidwe labwino kwambiri. cholinga chawo chani kuthokoza ife kuti wapeza mkazi Steve ananena kuti wapanga zabwino kwambiri pa dziko la Malawi pano. Nalongeza zokuti mamuna ameneyi ndizakhala naye mpaka chani ifa yanga se opanda ikhalidwe ina losesopa kwathu utulu apa khopa kwathu ayi ndiponso ine ndimaganiza zokuti mmene ndapezana ndi Steve ndili pa banja pena pake koma naona kuti ndazitayisa nthawi.
Ndimene mpasa sentence ya mlandu kuti nakuza kuti usagala kweso tinauza tusagala kweso kumapita keso pezeka sotukulako chifukwa kumene kukulawa kumene kunkachiwiri pakati pompasa anazadaniso anazalakwisanso ndi anazakansekera anakatulukira kumachinjiri
chifukwa ke sungabereke munthu sungakhale ndi munthu pakhomo ndi azingopezeka kuti walakwa china wakhululukidwa ndi akapangeso china
sono kupezeka nonso kuachitisaso manyazi sa president ajaso ukapangaso zinthu zolakwikaso ukaba zinthu zosalongosoka maneti akapezekaso akabaso ngakhale ndife tomwe akutisa manyazi tikupepuka padakali pano patuso antendere ife zofotokoza zathu basa zimene zodandala kuti zina ndiye basi latani
amatsangana naye kwambiri ndi akulu omwe aliyense masangalala kwambiri kuti nanga munthu sanali mukaidi nanga sanakhanga limene uyakulinga ati kumanda ndikukondwera kwambiri ndipo nathokoza kuti a president anachita bwino kwambiri nthawi zina akaona kupweteka amazasiya koma wina nengati kapena achitomuwuza kuti zikabebe ndiye sitidziwa za makhalidwe ake kuti kapena amvera lamulo loloti asiye kaya apena ati zipitiri abezo sitidziwa chifukwa kumakhala mtima wa munthu mmene amakhalira
nimankonda kwambiri ndipo nimankonda sinzampeza munthu ngati Stephen kwa ine ndiye akuti wabweraso mchichiri kuyamba ndili mwana ndisengana nditi sinazambira kulakula chonchi no kuyamba ndili mwana ndipo sinzasiya mpana kalekale ndini wamkazi mpana kalekale ndipo sinzasiya kazani mange sikala kuchiwiri kazani ndiphe sinimaopa ndipo simatoto mungayi ana imwe mutani ndani amuna ngaja opusaja ndamene analowa mantha koma ine newa mantha ngati ndimadziwa kuma ndikapanga izi mapetoyi ndisi ndimachita da zonse ndimazidziwa bwino zimakhala mwakutimatu koma alisa ndi ufulu osankha chino wakutani akufa chomwe chili kutima kwake baibulo angakupange upange chino moyo wanga waineyo panopa ndifadde ankufoma ya kuchokera pasi pa mtima wanga uli machiswe sindingakwanisa kukhala kuno Malawi
mwananga abwe ndizimuona kumpa akakha mavuto tizionera nkulu koma ngira kutali azapeza doti nditafa koma ndife alipo mphuka
As the Malawi Police Service, will continue to enforce the law. The law that is existing.
In theory, 20 years down the line, hopefully we can have a situation where not everyone might understand it, but everyone will recognize they have to accept it.
I believe it will happen, and I'll come running that day from everywhere where I will be. I'll make sure to come to Malawi and say I'm now home.
I take it like I'm seeing a movie because I don't really believe what happened, still up to now. When I think about it at times, I laugh, I cry. I say to myself, what is this then?
The debate really has started because of Stephen and Tiwonge.
Como vampiri. Thokoza kwa basa.